And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the stream. Here we are, man, postseason edition of the YouTube channel. Haven't had this very often, so we're going to soak up every minute of it, even though I just want the game to hurry up and get here because the anxiety level is at an all-time high, man. I can't wait for this game to start. We're little over 24 hours away from it. But joining me this time, I do have a couple guys from the Bolt Bros. I have both Andrew and James. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, guys?
What up, my man? What up?
Yo, man, just super excited about this one. You know, we were talking before, man. It's hard to concentrate. Like, I've had like 90% of my brain space just focused on thinking about this game and listening to different stuff. And it's, you know, it's hard right now. And I want to sit here and be able to soak up the fact that we're in the playoffs. We're one of 14 teams still alive while 18 other teams are out there at home firing their OCs or, you know, having quarterback issues. And we're sitting here in the playoffs, but, you know, but half these teams are going to be gone after this weekend. One of our teams are going to be done. You know, one of us are going to be very disappointed, but overall, man, just super, super excited about this one.
You know, and just the crazy thing, and once again, appreciate being on your guys' show, by the way, man. I love being with you guys, and I'm glad to be able to be with you guys to chat about this crucial game, win or go home for us. So it's a scary situation for the both of us. And the one thing I wanted to bring up is that we're two teams, young teams, and I guess I'm going to say kind of X factor sides to this whole thing is that you guys have a head coach that has won the Super Bowl, been to the playoffs, obviously. We have a head coach that a lot of people are already talking about the whole Mike Williams situation. Hey, if he loses, he's out of here kind of thing. Yeah. And I think that's a little crazy in some ways, but I get it in both ways. But the thing is that we got two teams where you have a very young team that doesn't have much experience being in the playoffs to where we have a team that has had a lot of guys that have been to the Super Bowl, won multiple Super Bowls, and have a lot of playoff experience. So it really bodes well that it's going to be against the minds and the players in this point because you guys have a guy that has done it and won it to a guy that has never been there as a head coach, but has a very experienced team in the playoffs and such. So it really puts together an interesting setup for this entire game all around.
Yeah, I just have to say one thing. I really like that intro. We got to get. James
I know.
Up.
I know. We gotta get our production value up here, guys.
I don't know what's going on here, so we got to talk to James about that or Kyle about that. We got to make that happen for sure. But no, man. I mean, look. The one thing I will say, guys, look, this team is completely different than it was week 3, right? Week 3, we were an absolute dumpster fire, and you know, crack rib cartilage to everything. It was a total disaster for us, you know. And so again, it'll be very interesting to see how we adjust. And I think both teams are playing at a high level. And you're right, though. It is going to be sad to see one of these two teams be done because I think they're both great stories, both very interesting quarterbacks. Agreed. And I think it's a sad thought, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a close one. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. And I want to throw back because, like, you know, if the Jaguars had won, you know, 28-24 in week 3, I feel like I could go back to that game and just take a lot more from it. But I feel like just the final score 38-10, it was just such an outlier. And the Chargers were just so bad that day with all the different injuries. But I guess what happened that day, and like how are you guys different today? You know, from going back to 111 days ago when that game took place.
Andrew, I want you to talk about it because you were at ground zero.
I wanted to jump off the stadium afterwards as well too. Here's the thing. We didn't have Mike Williams. We didn't have Allen. We had Parham was out. Our center, our studs, pretty much every Pro Bowler we had on our team was either banged up, not on the field, or not even playing. So that was tough. And secondarily, I think we were such a new team that they just weren't cohesive in any way, shape, or form. So there was just really bad safety play. There was just horrible corner play. Overall, it was just a bad game, right? I think that was even the same game that we lost Guyton. Didn't we lose Guyton that game as well, too? At the end, the very end.
Blew out stupid play. J.C. Jackson, I think, was the same thing in that game, too.
J.C. Jackson.
His patellar tendon that game, too. So,
difference.
Big time. Wild difference. And the big thing that Brandon Staley's really preached about it is that, and I'll say in the last 5 weeks outside of last week's game, which I really consider, don't really look too much heavily at that game. Look at what that game later in the game, we just started putting in a lot of our scrubs. I don't think mentally that we were really worried too much about it. Ironically, I know they were trying to get healthy out of that so they could go in the playoffs and such, but go with the previous 4 games here, guys. I mean, we have been balling throughout that entire time. Our defense has been really, really playing at a high level. We are ranked number 1 in a lot of different categories. Michael Davis on our defense and a quarterback is actually ranked as the highest rated cornerback in the league right now. He is absolutely playing on such a high level. Derwin James. He's an absolute ball hawk, and he's a great mobile piece for us on our defense. Our offense of recent has been really, really good. Justin Herbert's been playing pretty well for the last couple of weeks too. Our offensive line has only given up maybe 2 sacks in the last 2 games, which is a massive difference from what we've been doing in the last couple of weeks. Our defense has oh my gosh, I'm just throwing out a lot of stats here, by the way, guys. We actually have had about, I think, 16 sacks in the last 5 weeks. So we've been eating quite a bit right now. We've been doing really well. Now we just need to see if we can get that defense to show up in this game.
Exactly.
That's the big thing. And the thing is, though, continuity has been the one thing that Brandon Staley's been preaching. And going back to talking about the experience of this team, Kyle Van Noy has been the guy that has stepped up as a leader big time for this team. He had a big meeting just before the Raiders game. 5.44 yards is what we're giving up on the ground. Well, we got burned that game by Josh Jacobs, destroyed by Josh Jacobs in that game. But since then, our defense is playing extremely cohesive, completely different mindset as a team. We went next week against the Dolphins. They were one of the top offenses of the league at that time, guys. And we gave up, I think, total, if it's correct off the top of my mind, I want to say it was like 178 total yards or something crazy like that. It was like we smoked them really, really well. Next week, that was the Titans game that I know you jumped in our chat after that one too. He found a way to be able to beat against them and then go on for 2 more games and clinch it for us with 3 weeks left in the season to be able to go to the playoffs. So it's just an interesting thing of how we have played. We've really bonded as a team, and there's a lot of different ways that we could jump all over that too. But it's been awesome to see. It just really depends for us to be able to come back as that cohesive bunch we have been in the past couple of weeks.
Yep. So it's interesting for me looking at, like, because you guys are in a playoffs right now, but somehow like your head coach is on like a hot seat. And crazy. I don't, is that a real thing, or is that just a nationally push thing? Are Chargers fans like upset with? Because I know he's had some questionable stuff go on, but I don't know, man. I think it might be a little early to fire a coach after he's only been coaching 2 years to bring him out. I don't know. It's just, I guess, what's the overall? I know. What are you guys' overall thoughts about the way they're handling that?
I'll take that real quick, James. The thing is, Brandon, we all know 4th and Staley, right? He likes to go 4 on 4th down, but he's been successful with it, right? And so there's arguments both ways that, hey, look, he's being too reckless. He's not using his players correctly. I understand that argument. But the reality is this: he's produced. He's done a good enough job. Now, again, I've always said the offensive coordinator on our team has been very vanilla, very predictable. I'm not a huge fan of Joe Lombardi, but going down for this game specifically, Brandon Staley has completely changed this organization. So I think win or lose, he's not going to go anywhere no matter what. So I think it's a lot of fans just being frustrated that Williams got hurt in that game, when it really essentially didn't mean anything. But to be fair, I think he's been a great coach. He's changed the entire organization. He's done a great job. I think his job is safe. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, James?
So I'm a big fan of Brandon Staley. We have a shirt that we sell in our merch. It says "Let's go Brandon Staley." Kind of the "Let's go Brandon" kind of thing. It's a pretty funny shirt. But
you're in the Southeast, okay? So we're familiar with that.
yeah, very much so. There you go, Florida boys.
Let's put the link down in the description. You guys can buy one. No problem, guys. Come on now.
Plug everything.
Yeah, Jags fans gonna be wearing a "Let's go Brandon Staley" t-shirt. I don't know, man. But so I'm a big fan of his, and I like it because he does take risks. If we go back to Anthony Lynn was an extremely conservative guy. He started taking risk when his job was on the line, and that really changed after they got blown out by the Patriots, 45-0, I believe the score was. And he knew hey, the nail was in the coffin at that point. I got to take risks. And I realized I got a dog at quarterback right now that could make things happen. And he started giving the ball to him versus kicking field goals, which were terrible on special teams during that time. We weren't hitting him. Brandon Staley, I think, is a true leader and a culture change coach, in my opinion. The one thing that I'm going to say about Brandon Staley of recent with the news with Mike Williams is after the game, oh, he's questionable. He might be able to get back. Yeah, it's just a back injury. I mean, the guy looked like a 95-year-old man trying to get out of his couch or something like that. He ain't coming back, man. Like, if anybody's ever had a back injury, it's rough. And so all week he's like, yeah, he's going to play. He's going to play. He's going to play. And then they throw the news out, just a couple hours ago. Oh, well, he's got like a little fracture on his back or something like that, a little hairline fracture or whatnot. So he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. I don't like that he felt like he had to just wait to say something like that and give hope that Mike Williams is going to be able to play. Now, maybe it's strategy that he wants to throw that out there as a threat to the Jags or anything like that Mike Williams is going to play. But I feel like that's a little bit like, hey, man, you should have manned up a little bit earlier up on that. But the thing about it is Chargers fans are very 50-50 with this guy. And I personally think he's a very solid coach. He's done a phenomenal job getting us up to a 10-6 record because we easily could have plummeted after the Jags game, to be honest. Yep. A lot of the media talked about it and said the Chargers are done. They're toast. Too many injuries. That's a wrap kind of thing. This guy straightened the ship and made the leaders step up in this team, players be accountable for their actions and play extremely well. JC Jackson, one of our big off-season signings, gone. We had Joey Bosa out, gone. Allen Williams, gone for a long time. Corey Linsley, gone. Like, Justin Herbert getting his, ribs fractured or whatnot. There's a lot of things that could have gone against us, but we found a way to basically straighten the ship, get to 10-6, and we're in the playoffs in the 5th seed. So you can't question what he did and how he got us here. And not all coaches could do that. A lot of coaches would fold, but that's my opinion. It's my opinion.
There you go. So I guess going over your team, I know like for the Jaguars on the injury sheet, like we suffer injuries and it's like season ender. It's like this guy gets hurt, he's out for the year, but we don't have these little like nicks and bruises like it seems like the Chargers are having. I know that's been a big theme of the team all year. It's been like, this guy's nicked up, he's gone for 3 weeks, he comes back. And so I guess going into this game, what's the bill of health like? I know, we received some, I never hope or wish injury on a guy, but I hope your boy Mike Williams is back 100% healthy on Sunday. But I'm glad he's not going to be in attendance Saturday night. But I guess coming into this, I know Bosa's been a little bit banged up. It looked like he might have re-aggravated himself on Sunday. So coming into this game, what's the health situation looking like?
Yeah, so Bosa is fine. I know, obviously, Mike Williams is pretty much the big one to talk about. I think everyone else should be at full speed, in my opinion, from my understanding. I know there's some general discussions around Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert had some sort of, I think they had it listed on the injury report, some sort of shoulder thing, but he's completely fine as well, too. So good news is we're fairly healthy, but again, you lose a Mike Williams. Mike Williams is a big part of our offense. I mean, he's our big threat. He's our big third down threat. So I would suggest Donald Parham will probably be a very good third down target. So will Keenan Allen will definitely be a third down target. Obviously, Austin Eckler will be a third down target. Parham, I think, is going to be a sleeper for this game. I think he could actually line up into some of those positions for Mike Williams and also Palmer, right? So just like the Jags, there's a lot of people that the defense has to cover, right? So it's really going to boil down to, in my opinion, playing man defense and really beating the guy in front of you. It's going to be tough, man. I mean, any way you want to cut it, I think it is almost sad to me because I almost feel like these two teams are the best two teams in the AFC, at least right now. I feel like the Bills are playing good. Chiefs always play good, but I feel like these teams are playing at a really high level. I think they're playing hot. So I don't know. What's your thoughts there, James?
I feel like you kind of didn't really express on how healthy we are. I mean, we are extremely healthy.
Like, we're about as healthy as possible.
We're about as healthy as we possibly can be. And at the same side, really the one guy that we could say has been, well, two guys, JC Jackson, which obviously has kind of been handicapped our defense, in my opinion, when he was on the field, because I don't think he was healthy for the first 3 weeks of this year anyways. But Slater is the one guy, our left tackle, who's out. And that's really the only guy that we're really missing on our team, in my opinion. Like, that's really it. Outside of Williams, obviously, we know he's not going to play. Bosa's going to play. Kenneth Murray's going to play, who had a little neck stinger and everything. They've all practiced full all week. So, to be honest, we're really, really healthy. Now, going back to the Donald Parham comment, I mean, we got a 6'8" tight end here. I mean, you guys are, I want to say you're giving up a passer rating of about 114, I believe, or something like that. It's like a crazy stat to tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something gnarly. Yeah. What did you say? 140? Was it 140? Yeah.
He said he's taking your word for it.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. It's like very, very bad. And so with Donald Parham, he's a 6'8" target, actually did line up in Mike Williams' position during the Broncos game when Mike Williams went out, and he did get a couple catches. I mean, if you look on the stat sheet, you think 2 catches for like 38 yards or whatever it might be, but that's a matchup nightmare to be able to have a guy out there that's 6'8", that's literally almost a foot taller than a cornerback, you know. Like, it's
the
not
Jaguars being bad against tight ends. That's not a 2022 Jaguars issue. That's a whole entire franchise issue.
Yes.
I mean, you guys could bring out Antonio Gates this weekend. He's gonna put up like 5 receptions for 60 yards. So like,
yeah, and you got Everett, right? Everett's a pretty good tight end as well too. No, I will say one thing. There were a lot of people talking about how bad the Chargers are at stopping the run. Let me explain something about our defense. We don't care about stopping the run. The run does not matter to us. We want to stop the pass. Brandon Staley has sold out on the notion that passes deep down the field hurt you more than a 10-yard run, right? So the concept is run light boxes and have as many pass breakups as possible. We are leading the lead in pass breakups. So I think really the plan is, focus on the run a little bit, right? Let's try and stop him as best we can. Bend, don't break, hopefully. But really sell out on the pass and jam your wide receivers on the line. So I really believe that's what they're going to do. They're going to get very physical on the line with your wide receivers for sure.
The key for this defense, though, and once again, the run defense is pretty bad on paper, by the way, but the past 4 weeks, I'll say 5 weeks, I mean, it's been better than what we are being said on like ESPN or whatever the national stats are on basically the, how our defense is performing. So the big key for our defense is stop the first down run, put you in a longer second down and third down position to be able to try to throw the ball on us. Our strength is our pass defense. We are, I believe, are 6th in the league in versus the pass. If you start passing on us, that plays perfectly into our strengths. So the key is if we could stop you on the first down runs, which we did phenomenally the last 5 weeks outside of and I'm going to keep saying outside of that Bronco game. So I think there was a little bit of a difference of how we were mentally into that game. We were doing great against Henry, like any of these backs out there that were thrown out on us. Like, we did a phenomenal job of attacking them. And I expect kind of that same type of defensive game plan this week, where we're just going to attack very heavily on the first down runs, make sure we put it as like a 2nd and 10 or a 2nd and 11 or whatever it might be. If you guys pass first on us, that's going to change up, I think, in my opinion. But really, our big thing is stop that first down run. That really puts us right into our strengths of our defense. So
yeah, for sure.
And so, by the way, guys, we have 193 people in here. Shout out to everybody in here, man. Go ahead and drop your likes. By the way, beforehand, I'm here with the Bull Pros. We actually did a preview over there, kind of talking about the Jaguar side of things. I know you guys are all probably starving for content right now. Any kind of Jaguars, Chargers content you can get at this point, I'm sure you guys are all about. So go ahead and go over there, subscribe to their channel, check out the video. It's definitely awesome stuff. So I guess for you guys, when you're looking at this Jaguars team, I guess what worries you most about this game? Is it just the environment? Is it Doug Peterson versus Staley? Is it just the Jaguars offense? I guess when you look at this, what worries you the most?
Yeah, that's personally where I'd say is just that we're going into and kind of going into this, and I think I might have already said this earlier in the show. This is a very uncharted territory for both of us. Like, we haven't been in the playoffs since 2018. last time we were there with Phillip Rivers, you had an expectation and knowledge of how he was in the playoffs. Now we're in a hostile environment. I expect the Jaguars environment to be phenomenal out there, by the way. But we're going in now with a new quarterback, a head coach that's never been in the playoffs as a head coach, versus a guy that has basically won a Super Bowl, been to the playoffs, but has a team that's very young and inexperienced in the playoffs. So my worries really is the battle of the minds. Doug Peterson versus Brandon Staley. Who's going to be the one that really puts together the right game plan to win this one? So that's really my worries. I think you already alluded to that a little bit there too, UCF Jaguar. But Andrew, what's some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think bottom line, it's going to be a high-scoring game, right? And I still think it's going to boil down to defense, right? Which defense is going to step up? Now, the one thing I will say, and we did talk about this on our channel, Bowl Pros, that we do have a lot of veteran players that have won Super Bowls on this team, like Kyle Van Noy. The list can go on and on.
Bash,
right? Yeah. Sebastian Joseph Day, right? Morgan Fox was on the Rams as well. So, a lot of those guys are stepping up and really becoming veterans on our team, and getting these younger guys to feel more comfortable in their positions, right? And so they're holding each other more accountable, right? I mean, you got to remember, we lost a ton of players on the defensive line. I mean, we are. I think we have 3 players that are practice squad guys from other teams. No joke. Yeah. It's crazy. We picked them up like off waivers, like all through the season, and they're actually playing. Moa went to BSU. He's out there now. He played quite a bit last week. So my point is, we are definitely a beat up team, but the people that are there are making the most of their opportunities, and they're holding each other accountable and playing at a high level. So I think that's exciting to see, in my opinion.
And one guy that has left this team, who we made him kick rocks, was we call him Speed Bump.
Tillery.
Jerry Tillery. So the thing is, though, with our defensive line, he was a first-round pick for us a couple of years back, 2019, I believe what it was, and we told him to kick rocks because he wanted to have a bigger part of this defense. And a lot of teams exposed us and ran the ball at him because he was terrible against the run. And so that was a player that you guys went up against in week 3, and now he is not on that team. Now we got Brandon Fehoko, who's been phenomenal for us and being a really, really good nose tackle for us next to Sebastian Joseph Day. And one other guy I completely forgot about, who was on the Rams last year that won the Super Bowl too, was Troy Reeder,
Troy Reeder.
That he won a Super Bowl last year too. So I mean, we got about 4 guys on our defense that have been Super Bowl winners, basically, which is incredible.
So I guess going into this one, man, I guess last question for you guys. I mean, what's your gut feeling about this game? I mean, I know for me, I don't know, something makes me feel pretty good about it. I think the big thing, because like you guys said, the Jaguars are even with the Chargers in a lot of areas when it comes to just how the team is constructed. I think the biggest advantage the Jaguars have in this one is just with Doug Peterson, and they have a coach that's been here before. Yep. And I really think that is, going to be a pretty good advantage for the Jaguars. But I ultimately think with this game, man, and I said it on the Oz channel, I don't think we're going to really be able to stop Herbert. We just had to outscore Herbert. And I think ultimately the team that wins this game is the team that has the big turnover in the fourth quarter, or the team that has the ball last, or maybe even the team that dominates the time of possession. Because, if I'm sitting there, I'd rather the Chargers just get a quick touchdown in the fourth quarter than to get a 8 or 9 minute like field goal drive that just drains clocks. And you know what I mean? It's just, one of those games where, because last week the Tennessee Titans kind of made the Jaguars play football their way, which was really uncomfortable for us. But, I do think the Jaguars want to score points. They want to go out there and, and make the fireworks go out a lot in the stadium. Yeah. So I know I feel pretty good about it. Of course, I'll be at the game, so maybe that's going into it. So I guess with you guys, how are you guys feeling going into this one?
Yeah,
you go, Andrew.
You want me to go? Look, I think, like I said, I've already said this. I hate beating a dead horse. I think it's really going to boil down to defense, right? And Robert made the comment, Mack and Bose is on the field together. I'm really excited to see. We were kind of joking about this preseason. We're talking about that being the Iron Maiden. They're going to crunch, the quarterbacks in the middle, right? So we'll see how they do, right? I know Bose is pretty banged up, but Mack has had an amazing season. He's a Pro Bowler again. I think defensively, we are a much better team than we are. I think offensively, we are struggling a little bit. I still feel like, we still haven't quite gotten our group. So it'll be interesting to see how we play against your defense. But I think it's going to boil down to defense, man. I mean, that's all it's going to be. I just think it's 100% defense. And one of the things I will say about Justin Herbert in his first 3 seasons, he actually beat Dan Marino's passing record and he tied his touchdown record as well too. So he's broken a lot of records in his first 3 seasons. So he's done well. And but again, it's great to see Lawrence do well too, because I remember when he came out of college, I'm like, this guy's gonna be an absolute stud.
Yep.
So guys, more than anything, I'm excited to see a fun game, right? I mean, I'm not here to talk trash or anything like that, but I'm here to see an exciting game with 2 probably the most exciting quarterbacks, at least in my opinion. I think you guys I guess we're in for a treat, guys, as fans. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, we're going to keep it classy either which way on our side. That's how the Chargers fans do it, But
FDR, family, trust, respect. Family, trust, respect.
Yeah, well, that goes to the Raiders, but it's a little different.
Not the Raiders, not the Raiders.
Well, my feelings of this game is that everybody keeps harping a little bit on that whole Williams situation. He's not playing this game unless he magically gets on a Southwest flight by himself and magically shows up at the stadium or whatnot on game day or whatnot, but he's not playing at all. But why I'm bringing that up is that we have 6 receivers that were over 500 yards on our offense. We don't play this game of like, hey, we pin on 1 to 2 receivers as our guys. If you've seen some of our games, like if you watched, like say the Chiefs game on week 2, Thursday Night Football, DeAndre Carter, man, he made a phenomenal catch and has been a pretty solid wide receiver for us. Was a guy that was actually just a guy that was, I think, a substitute teacher in Sacramento for some years. He was on the Washington football team last year, came to our team, has just done a great job for us. Josh Palmer, another guy, second-year guy at Tennessee that we drafted last year. He's been a solid wide receiver for us. Gerald Everett had a career year for us too. Donald Parham has been injured throughout the season through hamstring injuries, but guys, he's 6'8" guy that you want to try to cover. That's not easy by any means. I'm not really too worried about the Williams thing. Yes, it's a massive talent to lose a guy like that, but at the same side, I'm feeling extremely confident with the guys that we do have. Austin Eckler broke basically Chargers record for the amount of catches in a season, 107 touchdowns. That guy's an absolute beast. Touchdown machine. Excuse me. Receptions. Sorry.
107 touchdowns. That'd be sick.
Well, he did win a lot of people's fantasy leagues this year. I mean,
he did for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, got it.
Absolute stud. Almost another 20 touchdown season. It's incredible what that guy's done as an undrafted free agent, guys.
Yeah, he won me my fantasy league. I was very happy.
There
you go. But I'm just saying, it's like I do feel that we have our guys out there. If you really do watch the film of, say, and people are pointing out the week 3 situation with you guys, Justin Herbert was playing kind of a little fast. And so he wasn't allowing plays to develop. He was throwing the ball early. He didn't want to take hits. He didn't know what his ribs were going to do for him. And he was playing, not letting basically routes develop very well. And he was just being eager to get the ball out of his hands. So he didn't want to take impact at all. So
did you hear what he said after the game? I don't know if you heard this after the game, because, he had fractured rib cartilage.
Yep.
He said when he threw the ball, he could feel his ribs moving around.
Yep.
And so he could feel like his ribs moving, but I think they numbed him up, so he didn't feel it really, but you could tell that he said, like his body was shaking and wobbling in a weird way. Right. So that's got to rattle you mentally a little bit. So he was definitely off his game for sure. So
absolutely.
We'll see what happens this game.
All right, sweet, man. Yeah, I'm not even gonna ask score predictions because I know where you guys are going. We know where I'm going. We all want our teams to win, and we're all hoping for it. But yeah, hopefully the Jaguars win 38-10 again. I very much because I do want a good game at the same time, man. There's nothing like just being able to relax through a ass whooping. But I don't think it's gonna be the same way. I think it's gonna be back and forth. Both teams are hungry. Both teams. I mean, if you look at it. These teams have each won, 9 or like combined 9 of the last 10 games. So, lots of good stuff going for each side. But
the good thing is, guys, like it's these teams are playing great right now, right? I mean, again, it doesn't matter. I always say it's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? And the good news is we're playing good now. Both teams are playing good now. So this is probably the best time for these two teams to play. So on paper, it should be awesome. So that's exciting. It should be exciting for every one of us on this channel to see a fun game, and get your heart pumping a little bit, and you'll know you're alive, boys. So
it's like Christmas morning, dude. I can't sleep, dude. I can't sleep.
Open your presents.
Yeah, I'm ready to drive out because it's like a 2.5 hour drive, so I have that to distract me. Then I'll go there, do some tailgating. It's
killer.
Plenty of distractions for me, I know, but it's gonna be awesome environment, awesome place. Last time the Jaguars fans are like 70,000 that were here. I mean, that's another thing that I didn't really mention is that, man, the Jaguars literally had a playoff game last week. The way that game was and the environment. And I know, it was a little bit different for the Chargers. It was like, you can say, oh yeah, the game means stuff and everything, but these players aren't stupid. They know what's at stake. They know the game, and they Chargers kind of sleptwalk through it. You know what I mean? And it's not, nothing against them. It's just kind of what was at stake there. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a big one. 2 young quarterbacks that are hopefully meeting in the playoffs every year. You're probably going to see a combination of them, Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert. We'll see where Lamar Jackson ends up. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But hey, guys, appreciate you guys coming on here. Of course, we did a video over on the Bolt Bros channel, talking a little bit more about the Jaguars. I know this stream was more so talking about the Chargers, but we talk so much Jaguars on here. We got to get to know our enemy a little bit. So, go over there, check that one out. But fellas, thanks for coming on, man. Good luck tomorrow, but not great luck. But yeah, should be a fun one. I'm really excited.
I'm excited. Yep, very exciting.
Yep. Very much looking forward to it, guys. I just sent over the link in the chat too if you guys want to take a look at the stream that we just did on our Bolt Bros channel. So once again, appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much, UCF Jaguar. Let's go Bolts.
All right. Go Jags.
Thanks, guys.